Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, distinguished guests, and folks of all stripes, put your hands together for the Space Cadet Sports Podcast. Houston, we have Paul Salazar Jr.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Space Cadet Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Paul Salazar Jr. Thanks so much for listening today. You can find the podcast, the blog, the memes, the recaps, the series previews, all of the fun stuff, all of the video pods available to you on the Substack at spacecadetsports.substack.com. Go and check that out. We also have a social media. If you want to see some memes, you want to react to us on social media, you can check that out at Space Cadet Sports on TikTok and Instagram. Thank you so much for listening today, folks. I am your host, as always, Paul Salazar Jr. I am a comedian, a joke writer, an improviser, just general silly goose. I'm a Houston native that now lives out in Los Angeles, where I've spent time as an entertainment industry professional for the last decade. I am old, folks, but I am old and I've watched a lot of Astros baseball. That's what I'm here for, folks. I am a huge Astros fan, and I know so much about these Astros. So this is your fan take for the Astros here, folks. This is where you go to when you're a Houston native and a diehard, and you're kind of sick of the way the national media portrays the Houston Astros all the time. You're just kind of looking for some kind of positivity for this team, for the coverage for this team. You come here. That's what we do here. We try to make sure we keep things positive for Houston fans. But that being said, we obviously do have to talk about some uncomfortable truths sometimes. That's what we do here on the podcast too. We try to keep it real. We do make our jokes and we try to keep it positive, try to make it a good place for everybody, but we do have to talk about the realities of baseball here. But it hasn't been that bad so far this month in May, folks. It's definitely been a whole lot easier to talk about these Houston Astros. We are catching up with them after this series here with the Oakland A's on this road trip. They just left Oakland yesterday. They are in Seattle today. They were able to take 2 of 3 of the games against the Oakland Athletics, winning that series 2-3. So let's just kind of recap that really quickly. We're going to look ahead to the Seattle series, and that's going to be kind of the podcast for today, folks. So let's just jump right into it. It's been a busy weekend for me. My partner, my lady, she had her birthday this weekend, so I took some time off to spend quality time with her. It was amazing. So I definitely watched these games on delay. I always watch every pitch of the Houston Astros. I have to. I'm that big of a fan, but this season particularly, since I'm doing the blog, since I'm doing the podcast, I want to make sure that I see as much of this as possible with my own eyes, and I'm not just regurgitating what other people are saying on the internet or reading off box scores. We have to read off box scores. You are going to get the stats here, but I like to make sure I know what I'm talking about. So in that first game against the Athletics, that game was played Friday on this weekend series. The Astros were able to take that game 6-3, coming off of their second and the second day of rest this May. They only get 2 days off this May. That was their second day off this month. They came back. They were able to take that rest and do something good with it. They were able to win this game 6-3 on Friday for Justin Verlander. It was great. Justin Verlander got the win. Hader got the save. Obviously, going up 6-3 was what the Astros needed to do. They got 6 off of 12 hits. Picking up that right here, we're looking at their runners with the team. We've been talking about it all season. It's been something that, honestly, it's not just something we've talked about all season, but it's been something we talk about a lot with this version of the Houston Astros since they've been playing in the golden era of Astros baseball. Runners with scoring position. Sometimes this team can struggle with runners in scoring position. It was not the case in this Friday game where they went 3 for 6. They did leave 7 on base. It's funny. I feel like the other day I was was saying, you can't expect them to go 500. You can't expect it, but they went 500 for us on this game. They ended up winning it. That's what happens when you execute that well in baseball. It's hard to lose games. So they went 3 for 6 with runners in scoring position here, folks. Myers hit his 6th run of the season in the 4th inning off of Stripling with 2 on. So Myers has really been raking this May, and he has not stopped. He can't stop, won't stop. He went 1 for 4 in this game with 3 RBIs. Jake the Rake really brought his bat to play, folks. He does not want to lose that center field position. Basically, everybody on the team got on base or a hit except for our main man, Jeremy Pena, who has been hot this season. He's definitely been amazing. He struggled to get on base in this Friday game, but that's okay, JP. You've been carrying us. Let the team carry you a little bit in this game. Other highlights are going to be Altuve, who went 3 for 5. He did pick up a strikeout, but Altuve really started to pick it up again. Same thing with Jordan. We're kind of worried about them kind of slumping a little bit. They took a little bit of a step back, at least for them statistically. So it's good to see Altuve and Jordan kind of get back into the swing of things. Jordan was able to go 2 for 4. He got an RBI, worked a walk. He did strike out once. Bregman, he was 1 for 5 with 2 RBIs. So you like to see that too. Those were kind of the main talking points there in the offense in that game. Obviously, another big thing here that Chas McCormick is back at the bottom of the lineup. He was batting 9th. He went 1 for 4, slowly improving on his season's campaign. He will have to he will have to improve on that campaign if he wants to have starting position in this very bloated outfield, very big outfield right now. We'll talk more about roster moves later in the podcast, but for now we're just going game by game. Another thing to note, Singleton was 2 for 3. He did work a walk in this game. Singleton continues to do Singleton things. You love to see it. And Yainer Diaz is still homerless. Not homerless this season, but he's been on a kind of homerless streak lately where some people are concerned about his power, concerned about what Yainer Diaz could bring. It's that thing last season, when everybody wanted Yainer Diaz to start over Martin Maldonado. It's like he's a great hitter, yeah, but catching is it's a long season for catchers. It's long on your body. It's hard to to make sure you're focusing so much on the game planning and to also make sure you're focusing on your time in the batter's box. I think in a way this is kind of Yainer Diaz's first full season as a starting catcher for the Houston Astros, but he's kind of having his rookie season and sophomore season all in one. He is going to take some lumps. He is going to have to adjust. I am not worried about Yainer Diaz long term. I just think that it's really hard to project what players can be, and catching is a tough position on the body and the psyche. So we'll see exactly the type of player Yainer Diaz is, but maybe he won't completely reach that ceiling that people were projecting for him. But he's still going to be an amazing catcher, and he's still going to piece together his game here, folks. I am not sounding an alarm for Yainer Diaz. I just know that he is kind of taking a step back from the projections, at least, that people expected from him this season. I think he's still having a good season, but realistically, we're hoping that he is able to bounce back and provide more slugging. But he's still an amazing player. So we're looking at the pitching real quick, folks. So I did mention Verlander picked up the win and Hader got the save. Presley also was able to pitch in the 8th. He picked up a hold. So yeah, like we look at it here, Verlander's final stat line was 6 innings pitched. 8 hits. 2 of them were runs. One of them ended up being an earned run with 9 strikeouts, and he gave up a home run. So that 9 strikeouts, he now passed Greg Maddux in the career strikeout numbers, folks. He is now top 10. You call him Letterman because he's a top 10 guy, folks. Justin Verlander is making history out there in an Astros uniform. You love to see it. Him and Max Scherzer are probably going to go back and forth, with strikeouts, as long as they're both pitching. With Scherzer being out, Verlander's able to take a little bit of a lead here, but that will be fun to see them kind of battle it out to get to get top 10 in strikeouts there, folks. Congrats to Justin Verlander. We love you, JV. It's good to see him out there getting a lot of strikeouts. Also kind of solidifying his season. He's been a little shaky, not shaky compared to so many other pitchers in the league, or especially pitchers on the Astros this season, but shaky for what we know from JV. So it's good to see him, kind of get right here, folks. It was a breath of fresh air for Astros fans. After the sixth inning, Brian Abreu came in and pitched the seventh. He had a little bit of a tough inning there. He gave away 2 hits, did give up a run in that inning, it being an earned run, but he did get 2 strikeouts. That made it 6-3 at that point. So the Astros were still in the game even after giving up that run. It was not a blown save, but it did make it a little bit tighter in the ninth and eighth inning. Presley came in. He did pick up that hold. He did not give up any hits, did not strike anybody out or walk anybody. So just goose eggs all around for Presley. But he did pick up the hold. He did do his job. He did work his numbers back down. And then Hader came in and picked up his 7th save of the season and picked up 2 strikeouts in the ninth. That was a story of that first game on Friday. The second game on Friday, it's a little bit of a shorter story. It was a Spencer Arrighetti game versus J.P. Sears. It was a low offense game in that one, with the Oakland A's taking it 3-1 in the evening the series 1-1 there. A's got some early offense against Arrighetti, and that really kind of has been the bane of the Astros' existence this season. That first inning just really spiraling out of control for Astros starting pitchers, and them just trying to kind of, limp to the finish line, and those are the games we don't tend to have a lot of offense. And in this game, there was no run support from the Astros for sure. All around, the Astros picked up 4 hits. They were struck out 6 times and only picked up 1 walk. So that was, it's like that game was very frustrating to watch in terms of the Astros. It seemed like they were swinging too much out of the zone. They were pushing maybe too much pressure on them. Obviously with just 4 hits on the game, we don't want to, going into these stat lines, are a bunch of goose eggs. So, Jordan was 1 for 3, Pena was 1 for 4, and in a pinch not a pinch hit situation, he swapped positions. Dubon was our starting first baseman in this game, which is kind of a wild move, knowing that Abreu is coming up. I guess Singleton just needed the rest. I'm thinking Singleton is still, GM Dana Brown said that John Singleton is a starting baseman for the Houston Astros. He's a starting baseman for the Houston Astros. But, I do think John Singleton will still be the starter, but it will be a platoon situation, maybe like a 70-30 split until Abreu can prove that he deserves to be in the lineup. We do love Jose Abreu here. I'm popping off one of my buttons for him to get that swagger back. But the reality of the situation is, when the Astros need to win games, there cannot be a huge hole in the lineup. So I thought it was interesting that Dubon got the start at first. I think it is telling that Singleton is a starting first baseman, or else they would have just ran him ragged until Abreu showed up in Seattle. But yeah, hitting in the 9 hole at first base, he did switch to left at some point, but Dubon was able to go 2 for 3 in this game. So thank you, Doobie, for bringing some offense. Everybody else, it looked like there was some trouble getting the bat on the ball. So that was very frustrating. The team was 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Obviously, the team left 5 men on base. 5 men on base isn't bad. 0 for 6 obviously isn't what you want with that goose egg there. You're not going to win games, but also, it just was a bad offensive game for these Astros. It was not fun to see. On the pitching side, obviously, Arrighetti had a tough game, giving up three runs. He gave up 2 runs in that first inning. It was definitely tough. It gave it up on, there were 2 men on base, 0 outs, and Brent Rooker doubled, knocking 2 runs in that first inning. So it was tough for him to recover from that to get the win, and statistically, but he did pitch a good game, going 5 innings, giving up just 5 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned runs. 3 walks definitely was not what we wanted to see, but he did pick up 7 strikeouts. So Arrighetti, he picked up his 5th loss of the season. He's been such a tough luck loser here this season, going 2 for 5 now. It just, seeing him go 2 for 5, seeing that ERA at 6.93, it really hasn't. His stuff looks so good, his pitching looks so good, but the results have not been what we've wanted. We'll kind of get to roster movement later, but it was tough to see Arrighetti lose that game, especially when I thought he did pretty decently, in pitching it. After Arrighetti left in the 6th, Taylor Scott came in. He gave up 1 hit. He did walk a guy, but he did get a strikeout. Taylor Scott is improving, his stats. He is increasing in confidence. He definitely looks like the type of middle reliever these Astros needed this season. Then we had Parker Mashinski come in. Parker Mashinski recently was called up to the Astros. He's doing well, picking up, he pitched a couple innings one game. He pitched a couple innings the other game. Coming back here in Oakland and pitching an inning, just giving up 1 walk. It was good to see the game knock it out of hand. He was able to keep it together. Then Seth Martinez came in and pitched the 8th inning. He gave up a walk and worked his magic, but unfortunately, even though the bullpen was able to hold it together and not give up any more runs, the Astros offense was not able to make any more noise in this game, and the Astros dropped it 3-1. So after that, the Astros definitely needed to win their game yesterday on Sunday, with Ronel Blanco coming back to the mound after his suspension against the team that he was suspended against. This was a performance that the Astros needed to win. This was a game that the Astros needed to win. It was a performance that we wanted from Ronel Blanco to just go out there and be nails, be the Ronel Blanco that we've seen this season and shush the haters up. And he did that. Ronel Blanco was him. Ronel Blanco came into this game and he pitched 7 innings. That was great to see. Obviously, with Ronel Blanco being suspended, the Astros were down a pitcher, but not just because he was suspended, but because they could not replace him on the roster, because you cannot replace a suspended pitcher on your roster. So they were a man down. They wanted Ronel Blanco to come in here and eat some innings, but realistically, he missed his start, so they were thinking he might not be able to go too long into the game. Well, Ronel Blanco threw 104 pitches, 71 of them for strikes, and pitched 7 innings, giving up 4 hits, just 1 run, 1 earned run, 1 walk, and 6 strikeouts with just 1 home run. His ERA remains low at 1.99 on the season. Ronel Blanco came out, pitched amazingly, had his hands checked between every inning. I feel like he should have just went around the Oakland A's stadium and just let everybody touch his hands in between the innings. There were maybe 12 people there. It would not have taken that long. But just to really show that, this suspension and this ejection was just absolutely silly. I don't understand what those umps were up to. Everybody is kind of on the free Ronel Blanco train, so it was good to see him come out here and execute his game plan and do great for the Houston Astros. Because there wasn't much pitching left, because Ronel Blanco ate up 7 of those innings. Let's just talk about the 8th and 9th real quick. In the 8th inning, Brian Abreu came in. He did give up a hit, which has been something. Abreu's been giving up a lot of hits this season. However, he did give up a walk. However, he did get a strikeout, and he was able to get out of the inning with 0 earned runs, 0 runs coming across the plate. We definitely needed that. The game was not in a position to hold, to get him a hold. He didn't qualify. However, and he did get a hold in the way that he held the game together still for the Astros. And same thing for Hader in the 9th. He came in and pitched the 9th. Doesn't pick up a hold over a save, but, he obviously did keep the game together for the Astros. He pitched 1 inning, giving up 1 hit. Obviously, he did give up a run in that last inning. It was an earned run. He did get 1 strikeout, but he gave up a home run. That was... Oh, I got out of my screen there. But that was, kind of tough for him. He gave up a home run to Shea Langoliers with 1 out. That was Shea Langoliers' 11th home run. He hit it to center field. Obviously, that put the Oakland A's within striking distance, but with 1 out, doesn't qualify for a save there for Hader, getting himself in and out of trouble a little bit, but still keeping the game close, and the Astros were able to win it, going up against the Oakland A's 5-2 in that game. Offensively for the Astros, it was a whole lot better of the second game of the series. There was a lot more hits going around, kind of picking this Astros out of their slump after that game. They got 11 hits as a team. They worked 5 walks and only struck out 5 times. So you really like to see them kind of solidifying there. Aaron Brooks kind of gave him some trouble the last time that they faced him. So it was good to see these results. Once again, Altuve gets a multi-hit game. He goes 2 for 5. He picks up 2 RBIs. Tucker goes 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Diaz goes 0 for 3, but does get an RBI, out of the catcher spot there for Jr, who's still been struggling a little bit. Like I said, I don't think it's cause for alarm, but his numbers are trending downwards. Pena and Bregman also came through with 2 hits apiece. Bregman also worked a walk, and Doobie, hidden in that 9-hole, went 1 for 4. Dubon, check this out. Dubon's 319 average and 778 OPS. We have some high OPSs there at the bottom of the lineup with Jake Myers, Yainer Diaz, and Mauricio Dubon hitting 7, 8, and 9. I mean, I know we still have a lot of ground to cover to get these Astros back to being legitimate contenders, but if we can have that much power and that much offense coming out of our 7, 8, and 9, that would be incredible. This team just really needs to get consistent and get consistent results from their team all around. But seeing that much production and these high numbers in the bottom of the lineup is very, very. It just fills me with joy knowing that we can get production out of the bottom. We just need to get everybody right. In this game, in the 4th inning, Tucker did hit his 18th home run. So King Tuck is out there slamming balls all the way, into oblivion. You'd love to see that. In this game, the team did leave 9 on base, but with scoring enough to win the game, going 4 for 10 with runners in scoring position, you cannot be that frustrated by it. The Astros winning this series was completely needed for them. Right now in the standings, they are still holding tight within 3rd position in the AL West, with the Texas Rangers directly ahead of them by half of a game. And then in the first place, we still have the Seattle Mariners. They're 2 games above 500. They've gone 4 for 6 in the last 10 games. And just like the Astros, are on a 1-game winning streak going into the series here against Seattle in Seattle. So this is going to be a big series for the Astros here. Obviously, they have a 4-game series coming up, and the Mariners, are 3.5 games ahead of the Astros. So, realistically, if the Astros can sweep these Mariners, they might be able to be ahead, number 1 in the league. And, that's what the Astros have wanted. That's what we've wanted to see the Astros do. Earlier in May, earlier in this month, the Mariners were able to take the series 2-1 from the Astros. So this team does look good. It does not look like this is a team of slouches. This team, while Forbes calls them mediocre, I do know that this team has excellent pitching. So let's look to the pitching matchups that we know for the Mariners and the Astros coming up. In the first game here today, we have Framber Valdez going on the mound to pitch against Bryce Miller. Bryce Miller was one of the kid from Texas that pitched in Minute Maid. He had a pretty decent outing against the Astros, but they were able to do some damage against Bryce Miller. So we're hoping that we can do some damage against him. However, he has great numbers this season, boasting a sub-1 whip at .97 with 56 strikeouts on 58 innings pitched. So, Bryce Miller is not someone to take lightly, but we do have Framber Valdez on the mound. We're hoping that he can execute and be the Framber we all know and love and not go rogue on us for this game. So while we're talking about the rotation, obviously in the next game for tomorrow, Luis Castillo will be up for the Mariners. We know him. He's a scary pitcher. This guy has the stuff. And the Astros are sending up TBD. TBD will be pitching for the Astros. So right now it looks like the Astros are in a little bit of a bind. Christian Javier is struggling with some forearm tightness. So he might miss a start in the rotation is what we're looking at here, folks. That's been reported today or last night. Christian Javier might miss a start. He's definitely struggling with forearm tightness. They don't have somebody listed for this start right now. I'm thinking he's probably going to miss one. But we also have some troubles with Jose Urquidy, who was pulled out of his minor league rehab start after 3 innings pitched a couple days ago. It does look like Urquidy might have a setback for his path to get back to rejoin the Astros. So yeah, we will see if Urquidy is able to come back, but this does look like good news for Spencer Arrighetti and Hunter Brown. These young pitchers will have to pitch for the Astros until Christian Javier and Urquidy get right, and there is a potential for Eric Lauer, the new pitcher that the Astros signed to a minor league contract, to come back up to the team and pitch for them if they don't want to bring up one of their minor league arms like J.P. France or definitely, I don't know who they would bring up besides J.P. France. I believe Forrest Whitley's still injured, and he's not even starting right now. So we will see what the Astros do. Maybe it will be Sean Dubin. We'll see. In the third game, the Mariners have George Kirby coming up against the Astros. It just seems like the Mariners have nonstop good young pitchers. Once again, the Astros will be sending up TBD. TBD will be pitching for the Astros, so we are not sure who that's going to be quite yet. And in the fourth game, the Mariners once again are flexing on us like they know who they're going to pitch. It's going to be Logan Gilbert. Once again, another young, great pitcher. It seems like they just have them on endless supply there in Seattle. And once again, the Astros are sending up TBD. So, folks, we are holding our breath to figure out how the Astros rotation will shake out going forward. I think this Christian Javier news has definitely rattled them. I don't think they were ready. They thought Javier was right. Obviously, I think I said in another podcast, I think they might have brought him up too early. I didn't think that he was still injured. We're hoping that he isn't injured, and this is just this is him just being brought up early and needs to sit out for a start. As for Jose Urquidy, we're hoping that his setback isn't long. We're hoping that, maybe it's just a couple more weeks, maybe like a early June situation instead of him coming back and joining the team in late May. But we will see. And yeah, this organization, has struggled with keeping their starting pitchers healthy. So I'm not, I think it's more of a league-wide thing as opposed to an Astros thing, but we will see what the Astros do. I'm thinking that maybe it will be J.P. France or maybe Sean Dubin coming up to spell the team for a start and then getting sent back down. But we will see. Maybe it's a thing where they just try to keep a 5-man rotation going for a bit here and use this off day. Their last off day for a little respite, or maybe they have a bullpen day, but I highly doubt that that's going to be the thing. My guess would be it's either J.P. France or Sean Dubin, and that will probably just be dependent on how many minor league options they have as opposed to how well they are executing pitching right now because of how quickly this injury snuck up on the Astros. But we will see, folks. I definitely will keep people updated as what pitchers will be pitching which games going forward for the Mariners, because this is a big series for the Astros. Obviously, pitching in Seattle, it will be a hostile environment, not the most hostile environment the Astros have ever dealt with, but they will be angry in Seattle. And, I think the Astros, in order to win this series, no matter who is pitching, the Astros, it's a bunch of question marks right now. But what the Astros will need to do is depend on the offensive strategies that they've used during the golden era in years past, which is just to remain consistent while swinging the bat. Don't swing outside of the zone. Swing at balls that you can do damage with, and just slowly eat up the starting pitcher and get to this team's bullpen. It's gonna be a tough series, folks. I do think the Astros win 3 out of 4 games. I would love to sweep, because that could potentially put the Astros in first place. But realistically, I think the Astros are going to go in there and they're going to battle. I think there's going to be a blowout. There might be a couple blowouts. I think there's going to be a couple close games. It's going to be a series, folks. I was able to take the A series off, but I'm very much looking forward to this Mariners series. I will be watching and soaking up every inning of these games. I hope you are able to enjoy them as well. And with that, folks, thanks so much for listening to the Space Cadet Sports Podcast today. We appreciate you listening to us here. I'm here in studio with my co-host and producer, Carla, who did not get on mic today. Sometimes she has a lot to say. Sometimes she's fairly quiet. I guess she agreed with most of my points, but she says hi. Thank you so much for listening from her. Folks, please go check out the Substack. There's so much stuff on the Substack. You can get articles, you can get memes, you can get podcasts, whatever you want at that Substack for me. Please, folks, go check that out and subscribe. It's free to subscribe, where you get all of this stuff into your email box every day, or every day I post, I should say. Go check that out at spacecadetsports.substack.com. If you're on social media and want to check us out there, check it out at Space Cadet Sports on TikTok and Instagram. Thanks so much for listening. You can find me at Paul Salazar Jr. and you can find Carla and cute dog pictures at good.dog.carla. Sorry, good.dog.carla. Make sure I enunciate. Sorry, Carla. Didn't want to ruin your plug there. Thanks so much for listening to this podcast, folks. Share it with Houston Astros fans wherever you see them. Let them know that this is the diehard home